This is called a faucet protector. It's made of foam. It's only a couple dollars.
The 7900 block of Shore Drive, this southbound lane, this is shut down.
Rock salt, I've got a 40-pound bag of it right here, but there is a trick to this baby. You got to apply this before the snow and ice get to Hampton Road. So you want to sprinkle this on your driveways. Well, unless the Supreme Court intervenes, Gray will become the 112th person to be executed in Virginia. The information on the outside of his Walgreens bag was correct. But when he got home, he found the wrong prescriptions inside the bag.
That's right, I'm here at the Norfolk International Airport. You can see behind me, it's actually pretty dead right now. Wearing a mask in public, like this one, is actually a Class 6 felony. Is there anything you want the public to know?
Sir!
The physical fitness portion is difficult in and of itself, but a lot of times they've got to do it together, which means if somebody messes up, they've got to do it all over again. Oh boy. This is the back side of the apartment complex where the shooting happened. You can see crime tape right up here. There's an officer standing by on this apartment. Follow me this way. I'm going to take you to the front of the crime scene. What we know so far is that a 17-year-old was shot in the back. The first thing you notice when Jeffrey Bondi is brought in wearing this orange jumpsuit is that his hands are shaking. And his defense attorney tells the entire courtroom that Bondi has Parkinson's.
Police say our natural response is to say yes. But that word is what gets you into the scam. Police say scammers record your response.
Yes.
And then claim to sign you up for products you never asked for. If you try to deny the charges, the scammers play back your verbal response.
Yes.
And threaten to take legal action if you don't pay.
Over the last few days, we've spent a lot of time talking about Ricky Gray, how he should be executed, whether or not he should be executed, how people feel about him being executed. But we need to take time to remember the Harveys. These are the victims in this case.
So do I just point it? We're gonna go in 1 second. There's no way that guy's going 46. Oh, cop is doing 60. Am I doing this right?
So the speed limit on this road is 55 miles per hour. Based on that information and our handy dandy test, almost every car that drove by, they would have gotten some sort of speeding ticket. In Virginia, you don't have to be a doctor or a nurse or even a police officer to buy Narcan or naloxone. I'm here at the Hampton Health Mart Pharmacy. I'm gonna show you just how easy it is. Hi there, could I buy Narcan?
Absolutely.
10 minutes later, with no prescription necessary, I'm able to get Narcan.
I got it. This is it. This is how to use it. Just like that. Now, I spoke to Miss Wilson after court, and she told me she isn't buying Lewis White's apology.
It's a difficult video to watch. A police chase which shows a brutal car accident moments later. Sworn to serve and protect.
Are you Patrick Valdez?
A former Smithfield police officer is being investigated for allegedly living above the law. Search warrants recently filed in Isle of Wight County Court claim former Lieutenant Patrick Valdez may have stolen thousands of dollars from the Smithfield Police Department. Most of the time, parents are the ones taking care of their children. But every once in a while, a child saves their parent.
Do you think he's the reason you're alive?
Yes, definitely.
6-year-old Latrell Shanes was home when he heard his mother, 31-year-old Tiffany Saunders, crash to the floor.
I just came in the kitchen and found her on the floor.
You know how big Disney World is? That is 1/10 of how much I miss her.
It's the best way a 13-year-old Chesapeake boy knows how to describe losing his best friend.
This is me at Blush's grave,
A golden retriever named Blush.
and this is her in heaven.
And Blush wasn't just Gabriel Nieves' best friend. She was his service dog.
What was it like when you found out she was dying, Gabe?
It felt like I was dying.
No mother should have to bury her son.
I got a phone call that Jordan had been shot, and I just started praying. Just ask God to cover him and just hold him in his arms and just please just don't let him die.
But that is what Lolita Frazier had to do last month after her son, 21-year-old Jordan Stith, was gunned down at a party in Newport News.
Just grabbed my things and I just drove here thinking that maybe I could get there quick enough. Maybe I could save him. He's my kid. He has powers. He's gonna live. And he did it. He didn't live.
Someone scammed him out of house and home.
He didn't even tack the boards down.
And even $25,000.
And some rooms don't even have a floor.
That's what Virginia Beach resident Thomas Caffey says.
My mother's only been dead a year and a few months, and she left me this house, and I was trying to get it renovated. This is her room. This is what he did.
Thomas blames his contractor, Julius Johnson. The contract shows Johnson promised to renovate parts of the house, including the floor and roof, for $25,000. Thomas says he paid, and the work started.
But every time that something would go wrong and I would call him, he would never answer the phone.
Thomas says he started to notice something wasn't right when Johnson began ripping out the walls of his home. But when Johnson took the floor, that's when Thomas says he knew he'd been scammed.
Now I'm homeless, have nowhere to go. And that's the worst.
We were able to reach the contractor over the phone. He claims he wasn't allowed to finish the job.
Just for the record, you're saying that you got fired from the job?
He fired me from the job. We did over $25 working hours.
So, I mean, it doesn't have a floor.
Well, it has a floor to get in there. He didn't let me finish.
Thomas says he hasn't received a cent back from Johnson. He might not have a home, but he says he still has his faith in God and the justice system.
God is still in control, and God does not like ugly. And that's what I would say to him.
In Virginia Beach, Merris Badcock, News 3. Over 24 million miles. That's how far school buses in Hampton Roads drive each year. In light of a school bus accident in Norfolk earlier today, News 3 wanted to know, what are the chances your child could be involved in a school bus accident? We filed an open records request and got access to these documents. On average, fewer than 1% of Virginia's school buses are involved in crashes. That's according to data provided by the Virginia Department of Education over the last 3 years. These are only the most serious crashes, ones that result in injury or $1,500 or more in damages. And Hampton Roads ranks much higher than the state average for serious school bus crashes. News 3 investigators analyzed data over the last 3 years and found 5 of the 7 major cities in Hampton Roads have more school bus crashes than the state average. In Virginia Beach, data shows almost 3% of their school buses are involved in accidents each year. In Norfolk, almost 4% of their school buses crash each year. Only Portsmouth and Newport News fell below the state average. When you combine all the data, over 2% of school buses will crash this year in Hampton Roads alone, 2 times more than the state average. Jeff Cassell, a bus safety expert, says preventing many of these crashes comes down to one thing: the driver.
The driver controls everything. The driver's the one who makes mistakes.
Cassell isn't just talking about bus drivers. He's talking about civilian drivers too, which means if you want to see your kids in fewer accidents, follow the rules and drive with caution around school buses. A destination wedding and a white dress.
This is the dress I wore.
But when your destination is a prison cell,
As you can see, it's got the long sleeves.
the warden has a say in your wedding gown. Vandy Hill's fiance was her high school classmate and soulmate, Lenny Singleton. She had searched for him for 28 years.
He has always stuck with me in my mind because one day in Miss Carnegie's math class, he stood up and announced to the whole class, "Vandy Hill, I just love you."
But when she found him, Singleton was at the Nottoway Correctional Center, serving 2 life sentences plus another 100 years.
And of course my thought was, oh, Lenny, what did you do? You know, did you kill somebody?
But court records show Singleton's crime wasn't murder. It was a string of 8 smash-and-grab robberies in 7 days, stealing less than $550 in the summer of 1995. One of his victims, who did not want to be identified, remembers what happened that made Singleton's sentence so severe.
Did he wave it in front of your face?
Sad that it happened to me, but you have to move on. I even forgot about it until you called me.
Singleton says he was high on crack and alcohol. He stole to feed his drug addiction. Court records show only once he threatened a clerk with a weapon, a table knife, classifying Singleton's crimes as violent. Suddenly, this high school star athlete, college graduate, and Navy sailor became his own victim, his life stolen from him by addiction.
I can't tell you how many times I sat in the park in Norfolk crying, asking God, I said, God, if this is all there is, I don't even want to live anymore.
Singleton talked to us by phone from prison.
The moment you accept a death sentence, you lose hope.
Singleton has spent the majority of his time locked away here at the Nottoway Correctional Center. During that time, taxpayers have spent over $500,000 to keep Singleton incarcerated, and they'll spend well over $1 million to keep him locked away over the course of his lifetime. All of that for a man who stole a little more than $500 back in the summer of 1995.
Prison changes people, and Singleton says 21 years changed him. A letter from a jail supervisor shows Singleton has never had an infraction as an inmate. He holds a leadership position at his prison job, volunteers at his church, and then, of course, there's Vandy.
It was unbelievable. By the time Vandy found me, I had been incarcerated about 17 years.
In August 2015, Vandy Hill became Vandy Singleton at the Nottoway Correctional Center. Vandy says her husband is the reason she survived stage 4 breast cancer.
We got to spend about an hour after we were married. This is what happens when I leave, every time. Because the place is so small and mean and harsh, and it's so not Lenny.
His appeal's exhausted. Singleton has one option left: a pardon from the governor, who is reviewing Singleton's 115-page petition for release. A petition one of his victims supports.
I just hope they give him a second chance.
The remorse I feel for the crimes I committed, I don't know if that will ever change for me. But what I would like is an opportunity to give back.
Vandy continues to wait for her soulmate, the man whose life she wants to save, because he saved hers.
I hate leaving him there. It's like flying home. I felt like I'd left half my heart in Virginia.